Hey everyone, happy Friday. Sean Norton here with another EverQuest Legends Insight video. Today we're going to be covering Exaltations. Before we jump into that though, today is also Beta Day. We will be opening our closed beta invites today. Our first wave of invites is going to be very small, but we will be doing more invites and ramping that up as we get more into the beta. So if you don't get an invite today, don't worry. There's going to be many more invites going out in the near future. So the team has been very busy getting ready for beta opening today. And so we still wanted to put a quick video together for you. It's going to be a relatively short video, but it's also going to be a little bit more relaxed. I didn't prepare like a script or anything, so a little bit more informal. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So we're going to be covering Exaltations today. If you watched Dave's insight video last week, he covered item merging and upgrading, and you may have noticed during that video when, as he upgraded the items, that there were certain slots that were appearing on his items as he upgraded them. So let's go into a little bit more about that. So you'll notice here I have my level 50 character. I'm a warrior shaman wizard right now. So I've been able to collect some items here. I have a little bit a whip here as my primary weapon. I have an flowing black silk sash, also known as an FBSS, which is my haste item. So in my travels here, I've managed to grab a few other things here. One of them is another FBSS. So let's see what happens when we take our current FBSS and throw another one in the merge slot here. So we merge that together, and you'll see that this focus exaltation slot shows up at the bottom here. So that's interesting. So we have some other items in here. We have some bone clasped girdles that we've also been able to acquire. Let's merge those together and see what happens. So we're going to open up the first one here, take the second one, plop it in there, and combine it. And now you see that we have another focus exaltation slot, but you see that it's already populated. That's because the item that we just upgraded has a focus effect on it. So now what we can do is, if we inspect this, we can see that this is an exaltation item. So if I go ahead and reopen the base item and I click in the exaltation slot here, I've essentially pulled that exaltation out of the item. So I now have an exaltation, which is a burning affliction, focus on it. So one of my classes that I have is a shaman, and shamans do have damage over time. So this effect on this item is it increases the damage of long-term detrimental spells. Well, that seems really cool for a shaman because I can use that for my dots. But the other problem is that I don't want to put the bone clasp girdle in my waist because that's where my haste is. So what can I do about that? Well, when we upgraded the FBSS earlier, we opened up the focus exaltation slot. And when I upgraded the bone clasp girdle, the focus on it became an exaltation. And I was able to pull that exaltation out. So now let's see what I can do with that. If I pull this exaltation over and slot it in, my FBSS now has burning affliction on it. So that's a method that I was able to do to pull a focus effect off of one item and put it into another. So that's really cool. So now I get the benefit of the haste as well as that focus effect. So let's see what else we can do with that. In my adventures, I was also able to acquire 2 +3 short of the Akeshas. So you notice that they also have some exaltation slots open, and there is a combat effect here called Akesha. But it's not an exaltation yet. Well, that's because it's only a +3. Well, I have 2 +3s, so let's see what happens when I merge those together. So I'm going to take the second one here, merge it in, and upgrade it. And that Akesha proc has now become an exaltation. And I can pull that out. So let's look at my current primary weapon. That is also a +3, so I can't put it in yet because it doesn't have a proc exaltation slot. But I do have another +3 whip here. So let's go ahead and merge that in. And I now have opened up the proc exaltation slot. And I can take my other sword here and slot that in there. And I now have the Akesha proc on my weapon. So that's really cool that I was able to move the proc effect off of one item and put it into another. So what other uses can we do with this exaltation system? Well, there's a couple other cool things that we can do. If I take a look through my bags here, I've managed to acquire a few other things here. One of them is this cool looking glowing black sword. It's a really cool looking item, but I might not want to be using it myself because it, has a dispel proc on it. But it looks pretty cool when you have it equipped, so how can I use that? Well, I have this item here called a weapon ornamentation token. If I take that weapon ornamentation token and I put it in that exaltation upgrade slot, or not the exaltation, I'm sorry, the item upgrade slot, and I merge the item together, I have now created a glowing black sword ornamentation. And I can take that and go over to my whip item and put it in the ornamentation slot. And I now have that weapon appearance on my main weapon. So that's really cool. So is that only limited to weapons though? No, we can do that with other items. So let's say I have a Robe of the Oracle. Robe of the Oracle has a really cool graphic on it. But I'm a warrior, so I'm wearing, my Indicolite armor from Plane of Hate, and I don't want to necessarily replace that. So what can I do with it? Well, I can take this armor ornamentation token that I have. I can also place that in the merge item slot and do pretty much the same thing. I've now created a Robe of the Oracle ornamentation. So let's take that ornamentation, go to my breastplate, and place that in the slot. And I have now upgraded my breastplate to a robe graphic. So that's really cool. So this gives you guys the flexibility to play around with a lot of different interesting and unique combinations of graphics and ornamentations, moving your procs around, any of the click effects that you have, any of the focuses that you have. It gives you a lot more power to customize your character the way that you want. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And like I said, today is beta day, so maybe you got lucky and you got an invite. If not, don't be discouraged. We're going to be sending out a lot more invites in the future. I hope to see you there. Thanks, guys.